The journey of caring for a loved one who is living with dementia can be quite challenging. The aim of this podcast is to make caregiving less daunting and more fulfilling. On this platform, we share knowledge, understanding, and experiences. We enlighten, give hope, and encourage, and in the process, create positive awareness about different aspects of dementia. Welcome to my podcast, Dementia Caregivers Corner. My name is Juliah Ratladi. Dementia Care, how deep is your love?
In today's episode, we are privileged to welcome an exceptional individual who epitomizes resilience, compassion, and unwavering dedication to serving others. As an African and proudly Namibian, as he describes himself, our guest is the founder and CEO of Alzheimer Dementia Namibia, an organization at the forefront of advocating for people living with dementia since its establishment in 2010. His commitment to this cause is evident in the creation of a dementia care farm and a place of safety for people living with dementia who are perceived and accused as witches. For over 13 years, our guest has been tirelessly raising awareness and educating communities about brain health and dementia-related diseases. Despite being diagnosed with dementia himself in November 2020, his passion for fighting against social isolation and discrimination remains undiminished. Remarkably, he continues to lead Alzheimer Dementia Namibia as CEO, proving that a diagnosis don't hinder his ability to drive change. Armed with knowledge from the Weekend Dementia Research Center at the University of Tasmania, our guest advocates for compassionate care and community understanding. In addition to local initiatives, our guest has spearheaded dementia-friendly villages in rural Namibia, ensuring inclusivity and dignity for all. His influence extends globally as a sought-after international speaker, sharing wisdom and inspiration with audience worldwide. In today's episode, let us welcome Berrie Hotlhauzen. Berrie, welcome to the Dementia Caregivers Corner podcast.
Thank you to have me, Julia. I'm privileged to be interviewed by a sister from Africa.
Definitely. Definitely. Berrie, I have watched your documentary that is called African Witch Hunter. And, it was produced in 2018. And you were going around the villages in Namibia trying to find people who might be living with dementia, yet they are perceived as witches. At one point in the documentary, you said something that touched me. You said, should you have dementia, you wanted to be treated with respect, with dignity. And in 2020, you were diagnosed with dementia yourself. If you were talking to someone who doesn't know what dementia is, how would you describe dementia to that person?
Well, firstly, my one-line definition of dementia is a permanent and a progressive degeneration of brain cells and brain connection. That is a terminal disease. Not because I'm old, like I always say to people in my presentations, but it's because I'm terminal sick. And even in all cultures, even in the West, in the white African cultures that I'm from, there's a lot of stigma and discrimination. Still in the UK, still in America, still over the globe, Dementia is perceived as someone who's mad or someone who's just old. Oh, you're just old. That's why you're forgetting stuff. That's why you can't do stuff anymore. And this is not true. Then I will always say that to people, that they are what we know of 700,000 children was born with dementia. Some of them even died at the age of 2 months, and 10 years, and 13 years. So this is a human disease. And even cats and dogs are nowadays being diagnosed with dementia. Okay. So, the disease.
Yes, it is an illness. And what type of dementia were you diagnosed with yourself?
According to my neurologist, of Alzheimer's.
How did it manifest itself on yourself? How did it show that you might be having Alzheimer's?
I think because of all my knowledge and all my also practical experience with different dementias. And over this last, we started 2011 on a farm in central Namibia. We've cared for more than 200 different people with different dementias. And all this practical experience and so forth, I myself, but also my family around me, noticed that something is wrong. For instance, Julia, I hold a master's degree in theology. I was also a lecturer in Hebrew language in the University of Pretoria. I did 2 degrees simultaneously, my honors in Semitic languages and my master's degree. And I cum laude both of them while I was also a lecturer.
Yeah.
So God gave me, like all of us, a very powerful organ called the brain. And I was a pastor for 25 years. And in the first 3 months in a congregation of, say, 200 people, I remember all the names of every family member, even the cats, the dogs, the birds, and the telephone numbers and the addresses. That time there was not cell phones yet. So people sometimes phoned me up and asked me, Berry, Mr. Smith, where is he living? What is his telephone number? And I could say it immediately. And then all of a sudden I noticed, but I can't even remember the cell phone number of my own wife. And it's very hard for me to, if you give me your cell phone number, I can keep it in my brain, and later today I'll put it into my phone, or 10 minutes later, whatever. But now, even if you give it to me, while you're giving it to me, I can't get it right. I can't put it in my some numbers or whatever, And then also I got suddenly very, very aggressive. If something is not right, if you treat me wrongly, or if you say something that triggers me, but it is so fast, I can't even control myself. And that was very strange to me. And then the last thing that happened to me, a lot of things happened to me, Even if I read stuff, I can't tell you what I've just read. And then the last thing that stopped me and that triggered me to go to my neurologist is I stole a pair of glasses without knowing. And I discovered it three weeks later. Luckily, they didn't stop me at the door, or didn't see me stealing this, in a big, in Windhoek, in the capital city, in a big mall. I stole this pair of reading glasses.
Yeah.
I bought one and I stole one.
Okay.
So 3 weeks later, I'm traveling a lot, when I unpacked my suitcase, I noticed that there's a pair of glasses here, exactly the same glasses which I was just using in my sitting room. And I went back to my wife and said, you know what? I am a witch doctor. I can witch. I just witched this pair of glasses. Suddenly it's here. And Julia, if someone caught me with that, no one would have believed me. I can't even remember how I did it. I handled both of these pair of glasses in my hotel room.
Yeah.
My suitcase, but I couldn't notice that. But I've got now 2 of the same thing. So that stops me in my tracks. And I said, something is really wrong with me.
Yes.
Sometimes I left behind my clothes in my room. I'm traveling 50,000 kilometers a year only in my country regarding dementia and young families. And so specifically in the rural Namibia. And I left behind my clothes. I left behind a lot of stuff. And I noticed that I, can't find my wallet or whatever. But not find it. I can't even see it because everything is black. Putting on a dark table, for instance, so there's no contrast in colors, and then I will walk away and walk around. And where is this thing? So hearing noises. That I stopped suddenly and said to my wife, "Can you hear the bells ringing?" And we travel also that year. We traveled to our daughter in the UK.
Yeah.
And I was very confused traveling, In 5 minutes, I will pack and unpack my handbag to find my passport and my cell phone, put it back. And just after I put it back, hey, where's this? Let me see again. So I was very unsure also. And I made an appointment with my neurologist. He knows me very well because I'm from time to time bringing people to him, accompany them to the neurologist. It's a scary thing to go for a, dementia test.
Yes.
Diagnosis. And then he said to me, when he walked into his room, where's your patient? I said, no, doctor, I'm your patient. Come on. I said, no, really, I'm making a joke. I'm your patient. Really? And after I told him all my stories, there's many more. Everything that happened the last few months with me and so on, my struggles. He looked at me and said, Berrie, if everything is true what you're telling me and I believe you, then you must have severe damage already in your brain. Let's start everything.
Yes.
So we started all the tests, the blood test,
yes.
the MMSE, mini mind state examination and just walk a little bit, come back and whatever. And then he sent me off for this brain scan. So after a year, after 3 brain scans, which he could compare, I started with the process in 2019, November. And then COVID came, and all the stuff, but I keep on doing this. And then he phoned me up. He said, Berrie, where you still? Like, no, doctor, I'm traveling. I'm coming from the rural Namibia. I was working there. He said, well, Berrie, you need to visit me as soon as possible because your brain is very, very damaged. It's severely damaged.
Yeah.
He said, well, I've read the report. I can't understand everything, but I could understand comparing all these brain scans. I'm living with Alzheimer's. So when I walked into his rooms again, he jumped up behind his table and said, this is a miracle. And I looked around, where's this miracle here in the room? What do you mean?
About?
He said, how did you came here? I said, well, driving from Swakopmund, 360 kilometers on your own. Just like always.
Yeah.
I said, well, Berrie, you know what? I'm a scientist. I'm a neurologist. I must believe the science. And according to the science on my desk, the different brain scans and everything, you're not supposed to talk to me, to walk anymore, and to drive your own car. Well, I'm talking, like you see, I'm walking.
Yeah.
And he was just stunned the whole time. And then I asked him, what do you think is the difference? He said,
yes.
I think because you keep on being busy. You don't let sometimes placebo kicking in also. If you get a diagnosis that you've got cancer, you're not going to survive that. People will die soon sometimes. So, that's how it started.
I wanted to find out from you. So these manifestations, they came in episodes, like you will do something and not remember it. Then you will come back to yourself. Then you will remember. There was a story that I read. It happened in America. This older lady, she was suffering or she was living with dementia. She got into a shop, just the same as your story, and got something and went out without paying for it. And the police officers were called on her and they just didn't know how to handle her. They just mishandled her in a bad way because the community doesn't know how to deal with people who are living with dementia.
Definitely so, and now after 3 years, I can define my different challenges very, very, very good to other people. Say, sometimes I can't even remember. If my wife said to me, but Berrie, we were there and we met up with this people, said, really, believe me, I can't remember it. Sometimes I can remember. If you remind me, it reminds me about something, I can. But I can't remember the detail. Sometimes I can't remember the detail even. And it's not sudden. The progression that I experienced in my own life was very slowly. Very, very slowly. up to a point where people around me, my wife, my daughter, because we had an intervention, I asked them to sit down with me and tell me the story. And they told me stories about the last 6 months or a year. Some of the stories I couldn't remember. I said, did I really do this? But because I trust them, for me, it's still unreal. But because I trust them, I say, okay, if you say this, I believe you. But then there's something wrong, seriously wrong. Seeing, knowing my own abilities, and then for knowing my abilities,
Yes. So now, okay, let me take this as an example. Like I invited you to this Zoom meeting. How did you make sure that you did not forget it? Is there any strategies that you use to remember some things that even other people who might be living with dementia can use those strategies?
You know what, Julia, what I've learned over the last 3 years is the importance of your senses. And I think there's a lot of dementia perception that I've learned over the years. And also, I did a lot of awareness everywhere in different levels that I taught through my awareness, which I don't believe anymore. And one of this is, I called my senses my EVs, my external brain. Very important to me. If I focus in the here and the now with my senses, while there's not many things that I will forget. So a meeting like yours, that I don't have often. I do have meetings once every month. I'm part of a review group of the Dementia Global Platform, Exchange Platform. And we are all people living with dementia in this group, and then we need to review some document and see if it can be published on this platform. I will not forget it. Neither the time, not to read the document beforehand. I am so focused on this that in January, I was traveling down from the Kavango in Namibia now. I was traveling down from the Kavango to my place, about 800 kilometers. I worked out the exact spot where I need to stop to be part of this meeting next to the road. And if there's signals and everything, what I missed, I was thinking it's 1 o'clock, and then it was 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And I was sitting there under the tree, 1 o'clock, 10 past 1, quarter past 1, and then I looked up my email. Berrie. Germany, and it's not 1 and 2 o'clock in Namibia. So you see, what I learned myself. Let me give you a practical example. What happened the first year?
Please.
In 2021, my wife's birthday is in July.
Okay.
I went to her cupboard while she was doing the washing or something outside, and I looked up what perfume she's using. And I said to myself, okay, you need to focus now. Look at the name, everything. Don't take a picture. See if you can find it. And I drove to the mall where now there's a lot of shop that sells all these perfumes.
Yeah.
And Julia, on my driving day, I'm driving next to the sea and everything distracts my mind. And when I parked in the mall, I said to myself, no, what the hell are you doing here? And I said to myself, okay, dementia. Just get out of your car, walk into the mall. If you see why you're here, you will see it and you will know it. And when I walked past this shop with the perfumes, I said, that's it. And I walked into it, and then I called the ladies who's selling the stuff, and I explained to them what is dementia. I use every single thing in my life to talk about dementia. And I explained to them, I said to me, do you know what's dementia? Look at me. No, where is he living? He said, no, it's not he, it's me. And I explained to them, and I said to them, I'm here to buy my wife perfume, but the only thing I could remember is something to do with a 5, maybe Channel. They said, no, Chanel 5. No, that's not Chanel 5. Okay, wait. I know now.
Yeah.
My wife's second name is part of the product's name. And her second name is Elizabeth. And they said, oh, Elizabeth Arden. I said, yes. And I've got it. I bought it for her, and she was very excited with her birthday. And 6 months later, it was Christmas. And I decided to go back to a cupboard and do the same thing, the same process.
Okay.
And this time, Julia, I focused on it. And I drove to the mall. I walked into the place. I look on the shelves and I pick it up and I bought it. And it was, I can still remember it now, it was Gorgeous in Black, Yardley. You see, that focusing of my senses is, for every dementia person, is so important. And to live in the moment. Forget about multitasking. Get it out of your brain. Walk to the kitchen, put on the kettle and stay with the kettle till it boils. Then you make the coffee. Don't go back to the bathroom now to brush your teeth. Then the kettle will be gone. You will burn the kettle. So that's what I'm doing, you know. Also by driving, I'm focusing on so much that I can tell you next to the road, every stone, every tree, every person I pass and where it was, and so on.
Okay.
My senses, my EBs, and all the people around me, my wife, my daughter, my son, everyone, my staff, all my staff, they are my EBs.
Okay.
They will tell me when we're driving to the farm to bring them stuff, when I put it on the back seat, when my eyes don't see it, when my ears can't connect with it, I will forget it on the seat at the back.
Yes.
So I must put it in front where I can see it. But sometimes I put it in the back, and then my staff will say to me, but sir, you need to brought us some. What? Then, it's the car. Thank you so much. So I've got a lot of EBs, you see. So that's why we can still live a quality of life. But we need the community for that.
Definitely.
The whole community.
Definitely. How old were you when you were diagnosed with Alzheimer's?
That was just after my 65th birthday.
65th birthday.
Yeah, but I started my diagnosis at 64, and I noticed it already 62, 63. I noticed already all the...
Yeah. Okay, you are Berrie. You are educated. You have a family. You have support system in the form of family. But for someone who don't have that, because I know there's so limited infrastructure when it comes to dementia diagnosis in Namibia and in other low middle income countries, you know. So for someone who is not you, maybe who doesn't have a neurologist in the first place, how easy or difficult would it be for that person to get the diagnosis? Like the processes that they have to go through before they can get a diagnosis of dementia.
Let's start with the medical professionals. They don't know this disease. In the private sector even. I'm not talking about state government. I'm talking the private doctors, the GPs. They don't know this disease. They don't understand it. They will call it, you get it all. You will forget it. Till it's too late. You know, they can't diagnose it. For instance, my GP, when I went to my GP to get a referral letter to my neurologist because he's a specialist, my medical aid will not pay without this. He said to me, no, Berrie, you just stressed up. You just depressed. I said, no. I didn't ask you what's wrong with me. I'm going to see a specialist for that. Julia, it's a heartbreaking story for us in Namibia, Sub-Saharan Africa, mostly. There's no hope regarding that. And that's why our work is mostly in rural Namibia. To help people to firstly understand the symptoms and the signs. And from there on, they will always say to you, that's how it started, you know. First I found that lady was the change, that elderly lady, Gina. I found 20 years being changed, you know. That's where I started with rural Namibia. That was December 2012. She's still alive.
Yeah. Oh.
She's still with us. She's our Nelson Mandela.
Oh.
She's Namibia's Nelson Mandela.
I cried actually when I was watching the documentary, because when you got there with your team and you were wanting to take her out of the heart, you know, she was stooping. And after you've given her care and shown her that she is a human being, she was straightforward. She walked straight and healthy. Very.
Yeah, and you know that from the time we took her out of that hut, that picture, till the time she was walking up straight. We're talking about an hour. Only an hour. Only
Imagine.
an hour to give her back her freedom. Over an hour to give her back her humanity. You know that the people that came, they are living in the south of Angola in northern part of Namibia. The families came even from Angola. They couldn't believe. They said to me afterwards, we were waiting for the witch to kill you. And and when she came out, we built a little bathroom, with this black plastic canvas between trees. It can be in private. And for 20 years, Julia, she had 500 milliliters of water a day if she was lucky. No one can believe it, but this is true. And with that, she need to do everything which she want to do, and hardly food. And all of a sudden, we bath her in 40 liters of water.
Ah, man.
For her, getting back, and she was quiet, totally quiet when I removed the chains from her leg. I had to use a cutter, because she unchained her before. It's a long story about it, but it's a sad story about Gina, but it's also a very powerful and beautiful story about what dementia is doing to communities because they don't know it. Julia, even in your language, in every language in Africa, there's not a word for dementia.
We don't have it.
No, that is nothing. know. So how do you explain? You asked me about the diagnosis.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to explain to people? Listen here, that's why I'm asking for witches. It's the easiest way out, or way easier. I'm asking people, when I start talking about the different signs, confusion, the undressed self, because they believe that witches fly naked and stuff. Then they will immediately say to me, but you're talking about witchcraft now, sir. All right, is that so? Tell me more.
Yes.
And then they start telling me more, and I'm telling them more. I explain them more about what's happening in the brain, why you see this. But Julia, I can say this to you also. People are desperate. They are fed up to be abused, especially elderly people. They are fed up because there's, some of them also, which I found, committed suicide. They can't live anymore like this. So, but back to the diagnosis, it's very hard. The West does not understand what we are dealing with in Africa. The West does not understand the culture of Africa and the beauty of the culture also. The Ubuntu. The Ubuntu, I am because of you, the village. That is 100% a dementia-friendly place. All that you need to do, not getting a diagnosis, I want to say, but help the people to understand the brain and what can go wrong, and how to help this mama and this grandfather, in this brother of yours or whatever, And that's where we are standing in Namibia. We're very excited because we, hopefully before the end of the year, we'll put up the first ever billboard in rural Namibia, Mbeu, dementia-friendly village, with a QR code, which will lead them to information, and that's on the highway of the tourists. Going to Congo, going to Botswana, going to, Zimbabwe, as you know.
Yeah.
And I think they will stop there. They will jump out if there's just see a lion somewhere or an elephant and say, what? Dementia-friendly village in Africa. Yeah, we've got it already. The only thing that we need is the knowledge in the villages. We don't care anymore about getting someone to do a diagnosis. It's too expensive. And they're too far away from a proper hospital.
Yes.
A proper specialist.
Yes.
So why?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
That's. I think that's for the West. It's not for us.
Yes. I was actually even talking to one doctor from here in the UK. I was talking to her about the diagnosis, and she said to me, Julia, for me, diagnosis is neither here nor there, because then what? let's just put money into finding maybe medication diagnosis for what? She doesn't believe that it will change anything. Talking about our different landscapes, the West and Africa, is it the reason why your slogan for what do you call it?
Alzheimer Dementia Namibia.
Yes, as we care with love, not drugs. Yes. Is it where you're coming from? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, even my neurologist, the first thing he did is look at his prescription pad and write me a receipt. And I said to him, doctor, you know me very well. I will tear up this prescription pad and throw it in a dustbin. I don't believe in any of this medication. And I've seen this in the rural Namibia. There's haliparadols, antipsychotics, and then they give something else to hide the signs of medication. What do you call it? The paramedical signs and symptoms of side effects of medication. I've seen too much.
Mm-hmm.
All this so-called antipsychotics, anti-mood, anti-stabilizer. What we use is what we strongly believe in to control pain. We strongly believe that to give quality of life, you need not to live with pain. But no, we don't use medication to do what? To control symptoms and signs of dementia. We use the concept of unmet needs. Why? Don't tell me. I taught my staff from 2011. Mm-hmm. I told them, don't phone me and say to me, Juliah doesn't want to shower. Juliah doesn't want to eat. Juliah doesn't want to sleep. Juliah is aggressive. I said, no. Tell me why.
Yes.
What is wrong in her body?
Yes.
Does he have uncomfort, maybe?
Yes.
Does he have pain? Or is there something in the room that's making afraid? Or maybe you're caring. She's refusing your caring because you don't have a friendly face. Try to have a very friendly face because she's reading and he's reading body language, you know. So we were working strongly on this, and I can promise you, Julia, up to till today, the first thing we ask when we admit someone, please give me the list of medication, and then we'll say to them, we don't want this here. Go back to your doctor.
Okay.
We want a prescription to wean them down. Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden, they came to our place. They can't walk, they can't talk, they can't eat by themselves. And in 3 weeks' time, after weaning them down from that, they walking, they talking, they off diapers, they eating again. We don't cure them. We know it's a terminal disease, but we giving back the quality of life that they're supposed to have at that stage, at that point. And we're getting now, this week, for instance, we're getting someone with Lewy bodies and frontal temporal dementia.
Mm-hmm.
They can't handle her anymore in an Holtzhausen in Windhoek. So they throw her out of the Holtzhausen.
Oh.
And then we're getting another guy with Lewy bodies, the elderly person. He's now in the private hospital, chained to his bed, the door locked because he's running away.
Oh, God.
Julia, I ran away. I was in the Camino last year with this walking the talk for dementia. I didn't know if you heard about this. A lot of neuroscientists and so forth, and people living with dementia, walking part of the Camino in Spain. And the one day, I was so stressed up, I just walked out of the group. And then when they noticed it, I was gone. So they were so afraid. And I was just sitting under a tree. And I said to them, guys, why are you angry with me now? Remember, I'm coming from Africa. I love trees.
Mm-hmm.
Very hot. It's very nice under this tree here. I can hear the birds, the sounds of nature. That's what I love.
Yeah.
So I didn't run away. I just walk away from what is
stressful
up to the place which is calm and peaceful for me.
Yeah.
And that is what we're working with Julia. And I wrote a letter to a psychiatrist last year because she's warning people not to bring their family members to our place. Because we don't use medication. Because we don't drug them up. One day when you're back in Botswana, come and visit us. We've got a big deck overlooking the desert, Namib Desert. On the deck, we've got, against the wall, we've got a picture up of Gina in the chains and Gina being released.
Oh.
And then I show them to the people, and sometimes Gina's even sitting there under her own picture. And people will say, "Oh, why is this people so cruel?" I said, stop there. Now turn your head to that wall. Then I've got a frame there, an open frame, with a chain in it, a normal chain, and then all the medication on the frame, that antipsychotic, anti-mood stabilizers. I said to them, this is a chemical change we as white Africans and as the West and everywhere in the world are using, and we say not a word. We accept it. What is the difference between a physical chain and a chemical chain? Nothing. Even I will say the chemical chain is worse. You can't see. You can't see. You can see the physical chain. And the ropes they tie up the people with. That you can see. But it's acceptable in the Western medicine that you can chain people up with medicine.
With drugs.
And that's why I'm fighting against, not only here.
Yes.
I was saying it in Spain among 30 neurologists, psychiatrists from all over the world. I said to them, I showed them these two pictures, said to them, why is this picture also wrong? The chemical change. Or why is it not wrong? And then I asked me, but don't you drink anything? Say, I'm drinking nothing. Nothing. I'm experiencing, like my daughter always say to people, we want to see their symptoms, the pure symptoms of dementia. Then we know what to do. But if you drug it, you don't know what I'm struggling with.
Oh, God.
You don't know why they're getting angry or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So that is our slogan, and we are true to our slogan.
These that you are talking about, Berrie, it's just, they make me emotional because I could picture the chains and the tablets on the frames. I saw one video in our class where this lady took her husband to a care home for respite, just for 2 weeks or so. And this man was going on his 2 feet. He was able to shower himself. He was able to do things for himself when he was going for respite. But within 2 weeks, because when he got there, they drugged him. He couldn't walk.
But you see, that's what we see over and over again. I call this medication the artificial caregiver of people living with dementia. In the place of a caregiver who can't handle this anymore or don't want to handle this. We want a quiet place. We want to have a nice time and getting money for that also, and say we're looking after people living with dementia. But they must be quiet. We don't want anyone. Aggression, Julia, we call the international language of people living with dementia. I'm always referring to a little baby. A little baby, how does a little baby tell his or her mother, I've got pain in my ear, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty? By crying, by being aggressive. Then a mother does not pick up the baby, take him or her to a doctor and say, listen here, this little guy is very aggressive. You need to give me something to control his aggressiveness.
Yes.
It's exactly the same. The only difference is I'm an adult now, but I don't, when I'm a baby, I don't have language.
Language, yes.
But now I'm adult, I don't have language anymore.
Yes.
Language of words.
Yes, communication. You cannot. Yes.
But I can communicate very powerfully through my body. And we've got what we call, for instance, the Lollipop Project.
Okay, talk about that.
For people with FTD, frontal temporal dementia.
Yeah.
It is so-called aggressive people. What we do is, if they start to exhibit aggressiveness, we give them a lollipop to suck on. Nice lollipop, a chocolate one, suck on. Then they focus on this sucking. And this is the first thing you do after your birth. You can suck.
Suck on, yes.
You can't understand what you're hearing. You can't understand what you're seeing. But you know what is the mother's breast. And you start sucking. This all connects you to memory very, very far away of your mother, comforting you.
Comfort, safety, yes.
Safety, all the stuff, and the sucking, the sweetness creates some good feelings in your brain. And we've got very good results with this.
Is that?
What I trained my staff is do the unmet needs. Is the nappy wet?
Yes.
Is he hungry? Is he thirsty?
Yes.
Is there pain somewhere in her body?
Yeah.
Is it very hot today? Is it very cold? Is it cold in the room? It's winter time.
Yeah.
If everything is according to you normal, then you give the lollipop.
Oh.
We've got a really very, very great result. Very great.
Are they for any type of dementia or specifically for frontotemporal?
No, we use it for any, if you can't speak anymore, if you can't explain to us anymore, if you can't find out what is wrong, because that is our challenge. We are private investigators. We need to find what is the cause. We are seeing the symptom, but we don't want to know what's the symptom. We want the cause of that, And then we believe we create quality of life and a dementia-friendly environment. So that's how we're working out. That's why we are a farm, They need to have space to be free.
Yes.
Feel free. We Africans, we are people of space.
Yes,
not
definitely.
Crowded communities in high-rise buildings in cities, We love nature,
Yes, we can't breathe in there.
Yeah,
that's an interesting one. The lollipop one is really quite interesting. I'll get more information from you.
I'll put you also on my WhatsApp group now.
Please.
I'm writing sometimes every day about my experiences for myself, but also for our people.
I would love those experiences so that even when in my class, because we can be talking about the worst way, we have to find a way to talk about the way things work for us as Africans.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Now, going forward then, why did you first establish the Dementia Alzheimer's Namibia?
Julia, I was my whole life, I was an activist for someone or some group of people. And as a pastor also, I was always trying to teach my congregation, my congregants, to look after the poor and to. I'm coming from a party, I grew up. My father was against it, and my father taught me this is wrong. This is inhuman, and then all the stuff. But still, I was fighting for it, and in this way, I grew up in a certain way underprivileged, because I was taught by the church, the school, and everyone except my parents that you are better than Black Africans. And that changed me into someone who doesn't want to fall in the trap again, ever. So in any case, I was in a pastor. We sold our church building, and with the money we bought a home, and we start caring for elderly people at the coast. And then we got this farmer living with Alzheimer's. And there was only 2-3 months with us, then he passed on. But then I said to my wife, I need to understand this. This is not just someone who was just out. This must be a disease. And then I traveled to my kids in England. I looked up Alzheimer's UK, and I sent me to 2 of their homes. And then I started to understand. I asked them, why are you talking of dementia and Alzheimer's if it's 2 different things? And then they start to explain me, dementia is not a disease. It's the condition of the brain caused by many different diseases, like Alzheimer's. And even HIV/AIDS, I think, is the prevalent disease in Africa that's causing dementia, not being treated.
Yes.
But then I, with this guy who was living with Alzheimer's in this, it was a normal home, and I could see there's a lot of tension between other elderly people and himself. And with his funeral, his wife asked me then to conduct a funeral. I said it's a farmer community. I said to them, I'm looking for, because I also noticed from him that he needs space. He needs to walk. If he wants to walk, he wants to walk. Don't close the door. Don't lock the door for me. Then I will get aggressive. All this stuff happens, and I said to myself, but something is wrong. We don't understand this.
Yes.
And then I got out of a little farm and I went to England, and they introduced me to a course of dementia, an online course.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I start to understand there's something big going on. And I got involved with Utah's. And so I decided to split up this Holtzhausen, take out all the people living with dementia, because then I noticed there's quite a few of them already.
Yeah.
Take them out of this and take them to the farm where they can be more free. I took a very big chance because I didn't know very much. All that I know.
Yeah.
It was the same with Gina. When I found a big chain, people asked me, but do you know? Maybe she's a witch. Maybe she's very dangerous. We don't have the money to look after. I said to them, there's only one thing that I know. I can't leave her like that. That's it.
Oh.
And I also said it with the dementia people that time. There's only one thing I know. I need to understand this condition, this disease or whatever. And I need to create a place for them. I need to put up a place for them where they can be free, where they can live in nature again and hear the cows and smell the dung and the rain and the dust and all the sounds, that you don't experience now, but I can see in your eyes. You are trying to connect with Botswana, with mountains.
Yes, you are reading correctly. You are reading correctly there. Yeah. Okay, as we might be running out of time. Talk about that now. I saw on your LinkedIn profile, there's a phrase that you have been leading this organization since 2020. Even now, you're still the CEO. And what caught my eye, obviously, was the phrase, why not? Why not? Is the one that caught my eye. And indeed, I'm asking, why not? Because I've read cases of people being dismissed from their work immediately after being diagnosed with dementia. Why do you think people just get dismissed? Immediately, I get my diagnosis today. Like, okay, now you can work. You are still working as a CEO.
Yes. And even my financial institution, after a year, blocked all my bank accounts. And I went to them and said, why are you doing this? Said, but you're living with dementia. You're not allowed to manage your own accounts. And then I said to them, I'll take you to court. You are violating my human rights. So now I
like you, Berrie, for saying that.
You see, Julia, I'm getting first-hand experience of all this. People always ask me, they even filed complaints 2 years ago against me, even at the ombudsman, at psychiatrists, everywhere, at the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
They filed complaints and asked them to remove me from my position. And I said, why? Can you do what I'm doing? Why do you think I can't do it anymore? Did you test me? So for instance, my wife is always traveling or mostly traveling now with me. And her job is to evaluate my driving. And you see that they say to me, Berrie, you're getting dangerous for other people and yourself. Then I will have my keys, but not before then. And I think isolation, Julia, is not only to put someone into chemical or physical chains, but isolation is to take you away from life, to disconnect you from life, your job, your family life. I'm still me. I'm still me. So if you can kill me, not only by giving, it's not a dementia killing us. It's the attitudes. It is the false perception that is killing us.
Yes.
How do you know that I can't do this? Let's go for a challenge, and then you can do. I'll invite you. Then not you. I'm talking over. General. I'll invite you now to come and show me how to help this man with FTD. We're going to admit now.
Yeah.
Tell me what we must do, and I know because they're sending them from other old ages to us. They're throwing them out. This easy one, as they call it. This cool dementia people. You're not just always quiet. Don't do anything. But there are active people like me. My daughter, my staff always say, Ooh, we don't want to say we're waiting for the day that Berrie is coming. They called me Katiti Upapa, small father.
Okay.
I'm their father. I'm the small father,
Okay.
You can't wait for small father, but on the other hand, he knows all the tricks.
Yes. Okay. Last two questions. Do white Africans perceive it different from the black Africans?
Yes, different names. They will call you mad. They will call you not capable anymore. They will call you a lot of names in white Africa. They will call you in church, you are possessed by demons. God is punishing you. That's the same as witchcraft. We just use the different words.
Description, yeah.
To do the same stigma, the same discrimination. So there's no different. There's no difference at all.
Okay. All right. At the end, like I said, I've been to Namibia, to Windhoek numerous times. So at one point, I got into this lady's office. She is the advisor to one minister. And so when I started my podcasting, I would send out to people who are on my contact list. I sent her my podcast and she said to me, oh, that's a coincidence because I'm reading something on Alzheimer's. So Julia, and actually her name is Julia too. She said to me, so Julia, what do you want me to do with this information for the people of Namibia? So I'm asking you, if this lady is listening, how do you want them to get involved?
Well, firstly, we need to do awareness education, but we need to start on school level because you can, in Africa we have the saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Raise a child, yes.
I take that saying and I'm saying it takes a village to care for someone with dementia who was once a child of this village. So if she was a child of that, or a child of that village, being educated in school already about this, there will be no problem. And again, I want to say, if we do proper education and awareness, the whole world will turn their eyes to Africa to come for help and how we do this in Africa. There's a lot of Western people, I'm talking about scientists and neurologists and doctors who are saying this to me from America, from the UK. I've got friends all over the world. They say, well, what are you doing down there? Say, but we are not stupid.
Yes.
Because we are African. Yes. And don't make a mistake, white, black, doesn't matter what is our color. We are all Africans. Yes. So I want to say awareness, education, and support us as organizations. Support organizations like us, not financially, but to go in the multi-sector life of Namibia. State, civil society, private banks must be informed, police stations must be informed. Everyone needs to be informed. Everyone needs to be understand. It can also happen with you. But beside that, how are you going to help us? How is the government going to support us when I walk naked down the street, when I was drugged, not only living with dementia, but then drugged? How are you going to support me? Just put me away in some place where I can't harm other people. No. We're still part of the society.
Yes.
And that's what I'm fighting for in my country, in Sub-Saharan Africa.
In Sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you very much. In my mind, I feel like the people that I know this side who are living with dementia, I could just take them all and bring them to your farm. So, all right. No, but thank you very much. I've got a lot to talk to you about. I think we're going to have another one in the future, another chat like this. Because
Anytime.
There's so much that I want to talk about. Yes.
You're welcome.
Dementia care. How deep is your love?